Kyari is wanted by the United States for his alleged involvement in a $1.1 million internet crime carried out by a wire crime fraudster, Abbas Ramon, also known as Hushpuppi, and 5 others. The Central District Court of the Central District of California on July 26 ordered the extradition of the commander of the intelligence response team of the Nigerian police force following accounts of his involvement in the cause of the prosecution of Hushpuppi, although the top cop has denied all allegations against him. A report by the Federal Bureau of Investigation (FBI) revealed how Hushpuppi allegedly paid 8 million naira to the suspended Deputy Commissioner of Police to detain a fellow fraudster, Chiefs of Vincent, for threatening to expose the fraud committed against a Qatari businessman. The report also showed call records, messages, and financial transactions between Hushpuppi and the former IRT commander. Details of the FBI report have been generating public reactions, but the Attorney General of the Federation, Abba Kyari, at the time said his office had not received the FBI report and that the United States and Nigeria have bilateral agreements as they have guidelines and processes for extraditing anyone who commits a crime in any of the two countries. Abba Kyari at this point is hanging on fate as the pendulum may swing either way depending on the findings of the Special Investigation Panel. Meanwhile, civil society groups are calling for swift response by the Nigerian government to the United States extradition request, just as it was swift to rearrest and detain Nnamdi Kanu, as well as respond to the arrest of Sunday Igboho in neighboring Benin Republic. It appears to us that the process of extradition is a long judicial process and applicable in peculiar situations. Some countries regulate extradition by extradition laws, in which case a country enacts a law on the right to asylum, and also between countries by diplomatic treaties, some of which are not, in some cases, binding. On our program today, we shall examine the process of extradition in the case of Abba Kyari. How would the extradition law work as a senior police officer and a key government employee? Also, considering the fact that the allegation against Abba Kyari is a Qatari fraud not committed in the United States, why is the court a strong force in the extradition process in both Abba Kyari and Sunday Igboho's case? Why, indeed, wasn't the process applied in the rearrest of Nnamdi Kanu, who is also a subject of possible extradition at the time of his detention in Kenya, as claimed by his lawyers? My guest on the program today, he's Alexander Kuye. Alex, as is popularly known, a member of the Order of the British Empire, MBE. He is a former Metropolitan police officer in London who also served as a United Nations peacekeeper for 8 years on tours in Africa. In 2012, Alex was sent by the British Foreign Office to teach the Nigerian police new techniques in modern-day policing. Well, how much of that they now apply or they know, probably Alex will be telling us in the course of this discussion. He's joining us live from London. Also joining us from London to make sense of the legal implications of all these things around the FBI and Abba Kyari is Jennifer Obaseki. Jennifer, popularly known as Dr. Jenny, is a solicitor. She is a senior partner at Obaseki Solicitors in London, and she is the international coordinator of the Nigeria Justice Group, an organization that represents the interests of the Nigerian community in the UK and Nigeria on all matters of social justice. Gentlemen, guys, thank you for taking the time to join us on the program today. I'll be bringing you to discuss this issue we're looking at on the program today shortly after this break, as we take this report from my colleague who did some kind of review around all these talk around Abba Kyari and the FBI. We'll come back after this report.
Nigeria's super cop Abba Kyari has been linked to a scheme coordinated by notorious fraudster Ramon Abbas, popularly known as Hushpuppi, to defraud a Qatari businessman of over $1 million. According to a document from the United States Department of Justice, Hushpuppi admitted to the money laundering charges in a financial scam and additional cyber and business email compromise schemes in April. A federal grand jury indictment revealed the elaborate scheme involved stealing of more than $1.1 million from a businessman planning purportedly to finance the construction of a school for children in Qatar. A version of the plea agreement filed on Tuesday in the United States outlined the role played by Ramon Abbas and his co-conspirators, running to cumulative losses of more than $24 million. The scheme mentioned a 28-year-old Kenyan, Abdurrahman Imran Juma, and 40-year-old Chibuzo Vincent and Yusuf Adeyinka, both from Nigeria, who posed as consultants and bankers alongside Ramon Abbas to carry out the crime. According to the indictment, Ramon Abbas was assisted in laundering proceeds of the crime by Rukayat Monturaya Fashola of Valley Stream, New York, and Bolatitu Tawakalitu Agbabiaka of Linden, New Jersey, while Yusuf Adeyinka Nifuoshe of Brooklyn, New York, also played a role in the fraud. Court documents revealed how a dispute among members of the conspiracy allegedly prompted Chibuzo Vincent to contact the victim and claim that Ramon Abbas and Abdurrahman Imran Juma were engaged in fraud. This development allegedly led Abbas to arrange for Vincent to be jailed in Nigeria through Abba Kyari. Kyari, celebrated in Nigeria as a crime buster, allegedly conspired with Hushpuppi, receiving payments from him to silence a member of his fraud scheme. Kyari is a highly decorated deputy commissioner of the Nigerian police force who is alleged to have arranged for Vincent to be arrested and jailed at Abbas' behest, and then sent Abbas' photograph of Vincent after his arrest. Kyari also allegedly sent Abbas' bank account details for an account in which Abbas could deposit payment for Vincent's arrest and imprisonment. In response, Abba Kyari took to his verified Facebook page on Thursday to deny the allegation, stating that he only had contact with Hushpuppi 2 years ago through a distress call that his family members were under threat from Chibuzo Vincent. Kyari explained that Chibuzo was later released by the police when investigations revealed that the allegations against him were false and denied collecting any sum from Hushpuppi.
All right, thank you for taking the time to join us on the program. The program is Global Matters. Joining me from London today, Alex Kuye, MBE, former London Metropolitan Police officer, and of course Jennifer Obaseki. Guys, thank you for taking the time to join us on the program today. Alex, let me start with you. What do you make of all these around Deputy Commissioner of Police, Abba Kyari?
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me on the show. It's very disappointing. I think I've been on your show quite a few times and I've spoken about the Nigerian police, but I think when we talk specifically about DSP Abba Kyari, it's a very disappointing. You know, he's a senior officer. He's dubbed the Super Cup. You know, everyone has their own nicknames for the achievements they've achieved. But one thing is as a senior officer, your duty is to basically set an example for all your junior officers below you so they can achieve what you've achieved in the police force. But for what we have and what, you know, and we can say that allegedly, what we see right now is, in my opinion, quite damning, not only on himself, but also the Nigerian police service. Now, DSP Kyari, I think, in my opinion, he needs to answer some questions. Obviously, the United States have asked for him to be extradited for questioning. And I think if he has nothing to hide, feel free, he should go. But one thing for me where I believe that we should just be a bit careful is that these offenses that he committed, were they offenses that were committed in Nigeria or were they offenses that were committed in the USA? Now, if the offenses were being committed in USA or have some sort of connection to the USA, then he should be accountable for it. If the offenses have been committed in Nigeria, then justice needs to take its course in Nigeria. Where I have issues in the past with these things is that there isn't a lot of clarity. Remember, we don't know what evidence America has obviously proposed to the Attorney General. We don't know. All we can go is kind of go on the assumption of what we've seen. Now, from what I've seen so far, it's quite pretty damning. And it's up for DSP Kyari to basically come open and say what his involvement in this matter. If he is innocent, which he still is, because he's not been proven guilty, then he should come out and say. And then if he's innocent, you know, he can move on with his job. But I really do feel that there is more to this. And let's be fair, when it comes to senior officers in Nigeria, this is not something that's new, where they get involved and tangled in stupidness like this. And unfortunately, he has. And he also needs to be accountable for that.
Right, but before I go to Jenny, in 2012, you were sent by the Foreign Office to come and provide some kind of trainings on modern day policing to the Nigerian police. Between that 2012 and now, at the time you came to Nigeria to carry out those training programs, what were your views? Did your training include how officers of the Nigerian police should relate with the public, what they should do, what they should not do? Of course, Abba Kyari, being a police officer, a member of the Nigerian public, he's still entitled to his private life. We've seen videos of him dancing and, of course, partying with celebrities somehow. How do we draw the line? When you came to conduct this training funded by the Foreign Office, what were some of the things you noticed about the Nigerian police? What were some of your recommendations to move them to the level that you think they should be, you as a former Metropolitan police officer?
Well, there was not, when I came in 2012, it was an interesting time because there was a lot of changes globally in terms of counter-terror measures around, obviously, the world. But one thing I noticed about the Nigerian police force, that there was never really any accountability. There was no such thing as professional standards. It was, well, if one of the officers commits a crime, who saw it? Okay, well, 1-2 people, that's not enough. We need about 5-10 people to basically substantiate the claims. And I think the issue you've got is, and you mentioned rightly so about celebrity. The problem is that where do you draw the line? What we see with our Nigerian senior officers is that they feel the need to not understand the line to be drawn. You're there, your job is to police. Your job there is to protect the public. Your job is not to go on a Saturday night to a party associated with a politician or associated with a member of public because you want to do that. Rightfully so. Police officers have a right to a private life. But when I was a police officer, I've been invited, and I'll give you a good example. When I was a police officer, I was invited to a charity luncheon. And as part of the charity luncheon, they wanted to thank the police for their good work in the area. I remember that case very well. They gave me flowers, they gave me a bottle of champagne, and they gave me chocolates. Now, there are set rules in receiving gifts. We have to register it as part of our interest in the police force. Whether it's they give you a penny or they give you 5 naira, whatever, you register it as this is the gift I received from these people that were giving me these awards. Now, guess what? As we collect it, we're not even allowed to eat it. We're not even allowed to touch it. We have to basically give it away to maybe, let's say, a member of staff is doing very well. It's part of a pool. We give it as a gift out. But in Nigeria, the Nigerian police force, it is a totally different thing. Someone will give you 1 million, you put in your pocket. Someone give you car, you're there parading it, saying these are my fans. You know, there needs to be a set line. And the reason is there is no professional standards unit in the Nigerian police force because everybody are so used to collecting something. We dubbed this guy a super cub. I know of many police officers that are junior to him that have done 10 times what he's done. But because there's this celebrity status that we put on our police officers now, they feel the need they could do what they want. We need to draw the line. If you're going to be a senior officer, you have to start from the front. The idea is, when I was in Nigeria in 2012, I did not see any sort of register of interest. People were getting free food, this and that. There was no sort of accountability. That's where you start, unfortunately, kind of blurring the lines because you're not following the right procedures.
Not following the right
procedures. Because at the end of the day,
procedures.
your job there is the police, and that is it.
Well, thank you, Alex, for trying to make sense around how to make a difference between your life as a police officer and also your life, private life as an individual. Let's get back to the extradition request by the FBI. Jennifer, what is a legal processes involved in this matter. Alex did make some points that we need to understand. Were these crimes committed in Nigeria, or were they committed in the United States against the interest of the United States, or were these crimes committed in Qatar? Of course, we did hear in my report that the FBI approached a U.S. court seeking extradition. Will that be sufficient to have Abba Kyari extradited from Nigeria to the UK? Talk us through the legality involved.
Well, thank you for having me on the show once again. This particular case is one of deep concern because of the level of real embarrassment, really, to the Nigerian police force. The legal position is one in which, because of the bilateral agreement that was signed in, I think it was 1931, but only enforced in 1935 between the USA and Nigeria, that you have to actually, one, really note that there are sections within that particular document that outline that there must be a proven crime, and it actually has descriptions around the crime of fraud and receiving bribes. So what is alleged here, don't forget, is that Hushpuppi has actually made a deal. I call him Hushpuppi by his nickname, but Mr. Abbas Ramon has made a deal in which he has fessed up. He has given details to the extent of his crimes, and within that confession, he has given details of what he alleges was a bribe given to this most senior deputy commissioner of police. Now, the problem with this is that he's in such a high-profile officer, a celebrated officer, that his status is not going to save him. He's been suspended most urgently, and that was a good move because it means it shows that the police force is actually trying to take a step. But the legal position is, within the treaty, it's very clear, there must be a crime that's been committed and recognized in both parties, both countries. Where this crime took place is neither here nor there. The fact is there's a crime that's been recognized in the USA, and does the Nigerian legal provision have an actual offense for a similar crime of bribery? Yes, it does. So apart from that, there has to be particulars, there has to be statements, affidavits. Bear in mind that the Federal Police, the Federal Bureau of Investigation in the USA would not make such a move if it did not have robust evidence. And not only that, the comeback from this police officer, his comeback was a post on Facebook. How ridiculous is that? Is Facebook now the official channel for government officers to relay information or give or disseminate proper statements? It's shocking. It's so woefully below any kind of proper standard that it is shocking. And his legal position is the Attorney General of the Federation in Nigeria is the one who makes this decision on this extradition, even though the bilateral agreement is there for extradition. It actually comes down to this officer, and he actually has the power to make one of three decisions. He can dismiss this application, he can open up an investigation, or he can go ahead and carry out the extradition. So it seems at the moment, because of the suspension of the officer and the fact that there's this investigation that's taken place, that he's gone into option 2. But at the end of this investigation, should he decide not to extradite, then the officer may still not go through to America and face this charge.
The question
and believe me, for it to have got to this stage where a warrant has been issued for arrest, not just a request to come in and answer questions, but a warrant, that's a high standard of evidence. And if he's going to discount it by saying, well, something did take place, number one, the actual disclosure of what he is saying is a breach of a level of confidentiality. There's so many wrongs in this current situation that I don't think it can ever be right in any way.
The real question for me here is this suspect as he is now, because of course he's still not guilty. We are not here saying he's guilty. He's still not guilty.
Oh no, nobody has convicted him, but there is enough evidence to trigger the issuing of a warrant. Warrants are not issued just by request.
Right.
You have to provide a standard of evidence.
Now the question
is, a confession has been given by somebody. who says, I committed this crime, here's evidence of it, and that man over there is involved. That's what's happened. Very clear. And on top of that, you have further witness statements. You have particulars relating to the nature of the offence and what is said to have taken place. These are all allegations, and quite frankly, if he is innocent, then let him go and tell them that.
Right, Jennifer,
if he is truly innocent, he should reveal the same to the Attorney General of the Federation,
Jennifer, on the point
who will
of
no doubt carry out a robust investigation to come to his own conclusions.
Jennifer, on the point of law, this Abba Kyari is resident in Nigeria. He carries out his responsibilities in Nigeria, lives in Nigeria. He is a Nigerian citizen. Does the US court have the jurisdiction to issue an extradition order on him being resident in Nigeria, carrying out his lawful duty in Nigeria and living in Nigeria? Does the US court have that jurisdiction? Should the FBI not come to Nigeria to make that
the
request?
Nigerian government has signed a bilateral treaty, an arrangement that mutually benefits both countries so that criminals cannot operate free-willingly in either's jurisdiction. That agreement has been signed on behalf of both governments, number one. And number two, even if the extradition bilateral agreement was not there, they would just be making a request to the Nigerian government, and from all structures of the Nigerian legal system, it is the Attorney General of the Federation who makes this decision. The Attorney General is presented with a case. He not only has the extradition treaty that is agreed between the parties, he also has to look into the case and investigate it, and that's the stage he's at now. Being presented with the evidence, he actually has a discretionary power. So looking at it, though the document is there, the legal power rests quite firmly, from what I've researched on this, with the Attorney General of the Federation. And so how heavy his shoulders must be with this ultimate responsibility of analysing the evidence that has come from America, analysing his obligations under the Nigerian constitution. He has a duty to the Nigerian people. He has a duty to the Nigerian government to make sure that if what is being said is true, that this particular officer cannot be seen to be getting away with such a crime. So he has to deliberate, and has to deliberate well. So the fact is, the American government does have every legal right to make the application under its own law, under the Nigerian own federal law, and under the powers that have been vested in this bilateral between the two countries.
All right, Jenny, thank you so much. Because of my time really running out of time now. Alex, let me, in 1 or 2 minutes, tell us, how has this put the Nigerian police, generally, both Abba Kyari as a person, as an officer, and the image of the Nigerian police before the international community?
Well, like I said, the international community, to be fair, for many, many years have not really had any faith in the Nigerian police service. And it's sad to say. But one thing I would say is that it is very sad when you see senior officers potentially lose their jobs or be convicted for a stupid, where you could call it a mistake or stupid thing they've done. But one thing I would say is that this should be a wake-up call for all senior officers and also junior officers in the Nigerian police force. Be careful who you're hanging around with. That party that you're going to, are you stepping over that line? Because at the end of the day, we see this on a daily basis, from police officers in Nigeria doing special escorts to special advisors to friends of who. You know, where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line when someone says, oh, thank you very much for helping me today. Oh, there you go, take 10 naira. Where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line where, you know, you're being told, oh, you know what, oh, I'm going for a party. Come to tag along, wear your police uniform. Because at the end of the day, you're there to basically protect the people. You're there, and your people look up to you. And in the UK, the threshold of somebody committing a misconduct in public office is bad, because the fact is they will come down hard on you. And I think that example needs to be set. If he is guilty, an example needs to be set so other people don't fall in the same mistakes as he has before.
Alex, thank you so much. We've been taking a look, as this program is not actually to put any form of indictment on Abba Kyari, but just reveal the issues around him. We do hope he'll be able to clear the hair around some of the suspicion. That's how far we can go. Thank you, Alexander Kuye. He is a former London Metropolitan Police officer and a member of the Order of the British Empire, MB. Alex, congratulations on that. That's been 2 years ago. Since I haven't seen you for 2 years now.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, Jenny. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your serious legal practice to join us on the program. Hopefully, I will be seeing you in your office very soon. All right, guys, that's how far we can go on the program today. Thank you for taking the time to join, and my sincere appreciation to the team that's made this program possible. See you again next week.